It was probably the first trip he went on which he didn't fully enjoy. He couldn't. No matter how much he tried to focus on the beauty of the country he was in, he couldn't stop thinking about the whole thing with Asahi and the prank. He felt horrible. Not only because he scared his boyfriend, even though that alone was a terrible idea. He felt guilty for making Asahi worry. He knew the former ace was still the same anxious person who overthought everything. Of course he was going to freak out. Noya should have known better after 4 years together, and knowing each other for even longer. But now, he had to go along with the prank because curse any common sense and empathy, he had to entertain himself by scaring his boyfriend. And taking a great job opportunity from him. He tried to call the company Asahi was going to do an interview for that day and explain that it wasn't Asahi's fault he couldn't come, but they straight up refused to talk with him with the explanation it wasn't their problem. Assholes. Asahi would be perfect for the job. Their loss. But no matter how shitty his potential employers were, he still felt guilty. This job could open a way for Asahi to more clients, and now it was gone. He knew Asahi was justifiably angry at him for it. He understood. But the fact Asahi refused to take him to the airport on the day of his departure hurt quite a lot. He texted Asahi several times throughout the trip, telling him about the cool things he saw and sending some photos he took of the beautiful spots, but neither of his messages were even read. Which probably hurt even more. Asahi always loved seeing his photos, said he knew Noya was alright and having a great time like that. But now, he apparently didn't care. Maybe he's just too busy with finding some new clients and doesn't have time to spare. Or he's still angry and doesn't want to speak with me. But as his plane slowly descended on the airport in Tokyo, he realized Asahi's lack of response to his messages created another problem. He didn't have anyone to get him from the airport, and the taxis were expensive as hell. Which left him with the only option to take a train and change the means of transport at least once before getting home. At 2 a.m., because of course his flight had to be delayed. This posed another problem, because there weren't any buses going to their home at this time at night, meaning he had a good half an hour of walking ahead of him. He really didn't look forward to that, mostly because he was tired after the trip, and the area between the last bus stop he could get to and their neighborhood was quite shady and full of dark alleys. But he had no other choice. His wallet was empty after buying the train and bus tickets, and he didn't want to call anyone at 2 in the morning to give him a ride. It will be fine, it's not even that far. He quickly made his way through the airport hall to the train and then on the bus before getting off at the last possible stop, facing the darkened houses in front of him. He thought if it would be a good idea to call Asahi to stay on the phone with him, or at least text him he was coming home, but he decided against it. Better not wake him up. He's probably pretty tired if he's looking for new clients. It's going to be fine. He had to smile remembering how light Asahi's sleep was. The poor guy got woken up by Noya just shifting weirdly in the bed. Or so he always said. He sighed. Who knows if he'll even want to sleep in the same bed now. He shivered slightly as he walked through the lightless street, convulsively clutching the strap of his backpack, half to protect it from potential thieves, half in an attempt to ground himself, the familiar rough fabric making him feel a bit safer. Maybe he should have stayed in some hotel by the airport and gone home in the morning. That might have been a better idea. Or sleep at the airport and wait there. He shook his head, mentally kicking himself. It's too late now, I'm not going back. Just walk forward and think murder. That works. Usually. It will be fine. He just hoped he wouldn't meet anyone on his way. He kept staring ahead to prevent making eye contact with anyone who might be on the street at this time of night. That wouldn't end well. However, he stopped abruptly when he heard some loud male voices shouting somewhere ahead of him. He didn't understand what they were talking, or rather screaming about, but he decided he didn't want to know and sped up to be as far away as fast as possible. Loud screaming usually ended up in a fight, and that was the last thing he wanted to get caught in. He was almost at the source of the yelling when two men suddenly bolted against him from behind the corner, almost knocking him on the ground. Before he even got the time to recover or wonder what made the men run so fast, another man appeared from the same place, something metallic shining in his hand. The echo of two gunshots pierced Noya's ears. The two didn't seem surprised and ran further. The third man looked after them almost uncertainly before he disappeared back into the darkness. Noya's heart thundered in his chest, a sudden sharp pain setting his abdomen on fire. He instinctively put his hands against the source of the pain, feeling something wet and warm under his fingers. He froze when his gaze fell on his hands and the dark, fast-growing stain on his shirt, the pain shooting through his whole body. Leaning on the wall beside him for support, he hissed through his gritted teeth, feeling the blood flowing freely between his fingers. Shit, fuck, hurts. He slowly sank to the ground, shaking the backpack from his shoulder in the process, which wasn't an easy task in itself, and cried out in pain as he moved to pull the backpack in front of him, feeling like something was tearing him apart. He dug around the pockets, cursing his own messiness. Come on, phone, where the hell is it? His fingers slipped on the screen, the phone refusing to cooperate with his bloodied fingertips. He angrily wiped his hand on his pants, ignoring the red smear he created, and finally managed to dial the emergency number. The wait for the ambulance was probably the longest 10 minutes of his life. He couldn't recall a single event that would feel more like an eternity than him sitting on the dirty pavement, bleeding, shivering, and waiting for a car with flashing lights that meant rescue. He followed the instructions of the emergency operator and pressed one of his spare t-shirts to the wound to try limit the bleeding, even though it didn't really help and he could feel the blood soaking through the fabric already. The pain was horrible even when he sat still, let alone when he moved, which felt like a hot knife twisting in his guts. His breathing was getting a bit shorter with every passing minute, his heartbeat rapid as if he just ran a marathon. The blood on his hands felt all sticky and gross, and his eyelids were becoming a bit too heavy. He gritted quiet curses under his breath, leaning his back and head against the cold brick wall behind him, trying everything to not let his eyes close. He wished he could call Asahi. Maybe he would even pick up in a half-sleepy state, at least to cuss him out for waking him up. If Asahi was able to seriously cuss anyone out, which he wasn't. But he had to stay on the line with the operator, whose voice and questions were probably the only things keeping him awake. I should send that guy some thank you card or something after this. If I get to it. He shook his head, forcing himself to have a positive look at the things. He heard that being shot in the abdomen was one of the most painful, and the victim could live in agony for the next few hours before dying. He decided to count on that. Just the agony didn't have to be so strong so early on. He chuckled and immediately regretted it as the pain shot through his stomach. I should really think before doing sometimes. He sighed and answered a few more of the operator's questions before he heard the most blessed and cursed sound of the approaching siren. Can't you, squint your eye a bit? Please? I swear I will be careful not to tear the stitches. He really didn't like begging, but the week in the hospital got him slightly restless. Slightly meaning he was ready to climb the walls if his body allowed him to. He was forced to stay in bed for the whole week, except for 2 or 3 short walks on the hallway a day, and his natural need to move was driving him crazy. Of course, he wasn't that irresponsible to go running immediately after being let out of the hospital, but he really wanted to go home. He was sure he could manage that and take care of himself. His abdomen still hurt like all hell when he moved the wrong way or too much, but he was going to be careful, so why didn't the doctor want to let him go? Nishin-kun, please understand that I can't in my best conscience let you go home alone. But you said you need the beds for the new patients. I'm mostly alright now, so why not? I'll be really careful on the way. I believe you, but you have to realize you suffered a serious injury and you could still possibly hurt yourself on the way. You should be glad the bullet didn't severely damage any of your organs. It's for your own sake and health. I can't sign the release paper if you don't have anyone to accompany you. I'm sorry. Noya pouted and crossed his arms over his chest, hissing in pain as the stitches moved. The doctor gave him a meaningful look, and Noya sighed. The doctor was right. He should be glad he got away with only a few stitches and no permanent damage. Alright, I understand. Can I make a few calls? Sure. Let the nurse know if someone will come for you, and then I'll gladly sign the release form. Thank you. He tried to call a few of his friends, but it being a work day, no one had time to drive him from the hospital to his home. Their home. His chest constricted when he realized Asahi was his last chance to get out of the damned building. He didn't really try to call Asahi during the trip because he was worried they would argue as the prank was still fresh in Asahi's mind. Maybe he wouldn't even pick up. He didn't call him from the hospital either, afraid Asahi won't believe him. Not that I would be surprised. His heart ached when he noticed he still didn't get a single message from his boyfriend, even though he didn't arrive home. Surely that was something Asahi would notice, right? Right? Maybe he's glad I'm not there, so he can work without being interrupted. Or he isn't home at all. Perhaps he's with someone who doesn't do stupid pranks and takes opportunities from him. He shook his head, chasing the thought away. Asahi wasn't like that. Even though he gained confidence when he reached adulthood, he was still the gentle giant Noya knew from high school. He wouldn't do something like that just because of a prank gone wrong. Unless... No, stop. He's probably busy and forgot I was supposed to come home last week. He was sure that was the truth, but he still hesitated before tapping the call icon. It took him 3 attempts before he finally heard the call being accepted. Yes? Hello Asahi. Nice hearing you again. Asahi sighed deeply, and Noya noticed he sounded really tired. Do you need anything, Nishinoya? Noya's heart sank, the use of his family name stinging perhaps even more than his injury. Yeah, are you at home right now? Yes, but I'm busy. Well, it's kinda important. He could feel Asahi rolling his eyes on the other end. Alright, what is so important you are pulling me away from my work? Again, may I say? Well, I was wondering if you could pick me up? I would go by bus, but they don't want to let me go alone, and no one else was free to drive me. I'm not driving to the air... There was a short pause. Wait, they? Where are you? So, this will probably sound familiar, but I swear I'm serious this time, and... Where are you? In hospital. I got shot a bit? I know you have a good reason not to believe me, but it's real this time, and I really need... You are what? Why didn't you start with that? What do you mean, a bit? It was just my abdomen, and the bullet is out already. The doctor said there'll be just a small scar. Small... Wait, why do you talk about scars and not the fact that you got shot? When did it... How... Okay, I'm coming to you. Noya wasn't sure if he should laugh or be worried. Asahi was clearly panicking again, and he didn't want him to get hurt because he wasn't focused on the road. Be careful, okay? Do you have your keys? Keys. Yeah, keys, wallet, phone. I think I have everything. Do you need something? Anything? No, it's fine. I'll go home anyway if you come. But please don't rush and don't call while driving, okay? I don't want you to end up here with me because you had a car crash. Yeah, I won't. I'll be there soon, okay? Noya smiled. Despite everything, Asahi was still his nervous teddy bear. Okay, I'll wait for you. Promise me you'll drive carefully. I promise. The call ended. Noya had to smile when he heard his boyfriend's voice from the hallway and the ruckus he was causing. A second later, the door flung open and in came Asahi, who looked like he just ran the whole way, breathing heavily and with his hair all mussed up from the wind outside. He still looked stunning in Noya's eyes, though. You! Hey, Asahi. I'm sorry I didn't. He got cut short by being crushed in a bear hug. He hissed, and Asahi immediately loosened his grip. Oh gosh, sorry. I didn't think before I... Noya chuckled and pulled Asahi back into his arms, running his fingers through the long, soft hair. It's fine. I missed you too. How have you been? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Noya furrowed his brow, hearing a soft sniffle coming from behind his back. Asahi? Are you crying? No. Noya hugged him tighter. It's fine, really. It doesn't even hurt that much anymore. Why didn't you call me sooner? I didn't want to bother you, so I thought I would get home some other way, but no one had time to drive me. That's not what I asked. How long have you been here? Since I came back last Tuesday. I wanted to get home as soon as possible, but you weren't answering my text and I didn't have money for a taxi, so I went by bus and then on foot and then I got caught in that shooting and... He felt Asahi freeze in his arms. Asahi? The man let go of him and slumped on a nearby chair, staring ahead with an empty gaze, his hands trembling. Asahi, what's wrong? It's my fault, isn't it? What? No, it wasn't. Why would you? If I picked you up from the airport, you would be fine. I almost lost you and it's my fault. And I wouldn't even know because I was too upset about stupid prank. He looked up at Noya, his eyes filling with tears again. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I'm such a horrible boyfriend too. Wait, no, don't say that. It's not your fault. You couldn't know something like this would happen. It was just an accident. Wrong place, wrong time. Asahi sniffed. I didn't even know you were hurt because I didn't read your messages, and you were too worried to call me. I didn't even think twice about you not being home because I forgot where you were supposed to get back. Your own boyfriend forgot when you were coming home. What worse could I do? Shoot me yourself? All color drained from Asahi's face, and Noya mentally kicked himself for making stupid jokes. He sighed and got off the bed, cupping Asahi's face to make him look up, wiping away the tears from his cheeks in the process. It's not your fault, okay? I'm fine, I swear. I admit I was a bit hurt you didn't read my messages, but you couldn't know I would get into a street fight or whatever that was. Nope, don't. No blaming yourself. I'm sorry too for that job offer, and for scaring you for no reason. But it's not the same. I can always calm down and get a different job, but I can't replace you. He took a shuddered breath. I don't know what I would do if I lost you. That's why I was so angry when you told me about the prank. Because just the thought of going home and not finding you there is so terrifying. I can't lose you. Naya's heart melted. He hugged Asahi's head, gently combing his hair with his fingers, enjoying the way Asahi wrapped his arms around his waist and pulled him closer. I don't want to lose you either. So, can we agree on no more pranks like this? Asahi hummed and carefully pulled Noya to his lap to hug him better. I agree. I don't think my heart can go through it again. He gently kissed Noya's forehead. Let's go home. Where are your things? Do you have to sign something, or should I stop by for some meds? Or food? Are you tired? Or hungry? You have to tell me so I can... Noya chuckled, secretly glad his boyfriend was back to his nervous, scaring self. He laid his finger on Asahi's lips before pressing a quick peck on them to silence him. Slow down, okay? I'll call the doctor, he'll tell you everything. Then we can go home. But could we maybe stop by for some food? The hospital food is horrible. Sure, whatever you like. Noya beamed. Can we get chicken nuggets? Asahi chuckled. Chicken nuggets it is.